All right, cool. So, welcome again to another episode here of Africans Talk Football TV. It's been a little bit since we've all sat down together. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good man, really good.
Splendid, splendid.
Yeah, I know our teams have had some rough weeks, but it's misery loves company, right? So I'm glad we're all here together, on another night. Again, just want to say shout out to all of our fans and friends. Thank you for just following with us, supporting us from the jump. And if you are a new supporter here, um, we meet weekly, and today we actually have a very special episode. Usually, it's just the four of us, Mike, Gabriel, Salam, and I. But today we're joined by Yosef, who's super interesting. We just had a little bit, of a brief before we hopped on to record here tonight, but a very, very interesting guy. I have a whole bunch of questions for him. I wanted to hand it over to Salam, who kind of introduced this little merger here we have today. So, Salam.
Yeah, like Cornelia said, Yosef, thank you for hopping on with us. Thank you for giving us your time. Yosef is the co-founder of a company called Sangalo, and I don't want to take away from you. I kind of want you to get into it. So, just want to say thank you again for hopping on and just kind of welcome.
Happily. Thank you. I'm happy to be here. It's rare for me to talk with a bunch of Africans about football. One of my favorite activities. So my bread and butter, honestly.
Welcome, bro. Welcome,
Mhm.
man. So, like I said, you're one of the co-founders of Sangalo. Kind of tell us a little bit about that and how you got into it.
Yeah, it's actually my co-founder had this idea. So we're obviously all immigrated to the U.S. and grew up all over the world. I obviously grew up in Africa, and the idea was like we all have our what I would call like secondary teams. So of course I am an
Mhm.
Arsenal fan. That is really, and I was trying to get a jersey from back home, which was impossible, and he was trying to do the same thing, and we're like, hey, why is it so difficult to get jerseys from back home? And then we'd go play pickup football across New York City and see all these guys wearing the PSG jersey, the Real Madrid, the Chelsea jersey. And you talk to them, it's because they couldn't find jerseys from wherever they had come from originally. So that's kind of where the idea came from. We were like, why shouldn't you be able to get a jersey from Ghana, a jersey from Laos, a jersey from Belize? Like, why shouldn't you get it? And that's kind of like how we started the company.
Mhm.
Cool. So, I'm glad you kind of gave us a little backstory, but we always just like to jump from the beginning. So, as Africans talk football TV, we all are from different countries. Gabriel and I from Liberia, Mike Ghanaian, Salam Ethiopian. So, kind of tell us where are you originally from, or at least where are your parents from? When did you come to the States? When did that love for Arsenal form? Was it more so a family thing, or did you pick Arsenal on your own? And then like obviously it's dope to be able to go to get a jersey from Belize. I've never even seen a Belize jersey. So kind of how did the formation of the company start with you and your co-founder?
Yeah, I'll give you the brief version because the longer version we don't have the
Yeah,
time
yeah,
for
yeah.
it.
We don't need to sit down in the backyard Africans drinking beer.
Yeah, no.
This part of
No.
this. This part of
I know I grew up in East Africa, so Ethiopia, Eritrea, and Sudan were like all my formative years. So like that's really where I grew up, and I think you guys understand. Like football is a religion back home. It's like people don't understand here in the U.S., and I'm like, no, it's a religion. But I actually remember like my earliest memories were Serie A. It was like big. I remember Gabriel Batistuta playing for Fiorentina was like when I really got introduced. You play on the street and so on. And I just remember the old Highbury days. Like this is like I remember just tuning in TV, didn't know a single team, stumbled upon Arsenal. I'm like, this is like Arsenal their glory day. Wenger, the double, the old Bergkamp. You watch that and what can I say, man? That stuff is addicting. So like 1 week became 2 weeks, became 3 weeks. I don't know anything. It's not like today where you can just like see the schedule. Then it was just like Saturday and Sunday, you see what's on TV. And unfortunately, that's when the addiction started, when it was the high of highs with Arsenal, the good old days, thought that was going to be life. But yeah, that's how I got into football and how I got into Arsenal, honestly. And then about 10 years ago, I moved to the States, just different reasons. But the one constant is Arsenal and by extension football. Honestly, it's like the one thing I've kept maintained throughout my whole life. Yeah. I forgot the rest part of the question. My bad.
No, very cool. So yeah, so like the last part of the question was, so how did that love for football kind of spur you and your co-founder to, to get into the company?
Yeah. I mean, it's like one of those things. We both worked what I would call like corporate jobs, but that's not where the passion was. Like you want to do well, but the passion was in football. Like, and so it's kind of a dream to be able to work in football, which is also, I play football every day. I work in football every day. I talk about football every day. I watch football every day. So for me, it was just a natural continuation. So it was just like, hey, we think there's a twofold. There's like there's a business. It's a business, of course, but it's also like we're trying to do good here. It's like why don't these teams deserve the recognition? Right? They're just as well run. They're professionally maintained. They actually have more, I would say, impact on their local communities compared to the not to say PSG doesn't do stuff in their community, but like people paying $95 for a Mbappe shirt compared to people paying $65 for a Para FC shirt. There's a bigger impact on the local community. So that's kind of, we were talking about it and we're like, yeah, this is the move. We're young, obviously, but that is kind of like the goal is like to make these household names so that when I mention a Belizean team or a team from Bhutan, people are like, I know what that team is. Like that is like our goal, really.
So yeah, I mean, just looking at your portfolio of the clubs that you have partnerships with, like I guess for one, like how did you get those partnerships, and like two, how is it like facilitating like those connections and like I guess doing business that way?
Yeah. Getting the clubs, honestly, my co-founder would go on and on forever. A lot of hard work is what I'll say. It's just like, but really, it's a combination of like, does the team fit the profile we're looking for? Like, are they involved in their local community? Do they have like, are they relatively professional? Do they have like high standards? Are they willing to work with us? Because there's also the aspect of like, who are these random, in their eyes, like Westerners, like texting us, be like, hey, can we buy some of your shirts? Do you want to partner? And they're like, we've never done this before. We have no idea who you are. But then the more they hear about like what we're trying to achieve, they're all like, yeah, this is absolutely like, we love the idea. We love the mission. It's a partnership, right? It's like, it doesn't work if they're not interested. It doesn't work for us if they're not interested. So that's kind of how it is. As to finding them, it's just like what's going on, what seasons are still in flux. Just a lot of factors, to be honest. There's a lot of teams out there, but finding the right partner is quite difficult, in all honesty.
So you talk about like your values, like of the company. Like, can you talk a little bit about what those values are and like what do you look for when you're establishing a partnership with a club?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is like, I hate to repeat the word. It's like a partnership. It's like it cannot be one direction. It's like they have to be willing to work with us. They have to have some trust in what we're doing. And on the flip side, it's like, hey, when someone buys this shirt, we have to make sure you are going to use this money in like a good way, not just like, let me go spend it on whatever it is you want to say. So that's kind of where the balance is. And there's like a lot of trust because, like you look at where these teams are based and where we are based, it's all over the world. It's not like we can have the opportunity to fly. We'd be flying 6 continents every single week. So yeah, that's kind of like getting to know the teams, getting to know the owners, getting to know the manufacturers, getting to know people who run in the club. Sometimes we talk to the coaches, the club managers. It's just like building quite a deep relationship, honestly.
Yeah, that is very cool. Even just talking about the process. So, what is the like the time process into each partnership you go into? So, how long does it take for you to establish like a partnership?
When it goes well, like it can be as short as like a couple weeks. When sometimes it goes as far as like months, like things you think conversations, because it's like they have to check in with their board, with their teams, with the people who own the clubs. So it's just like waiting for that process. Depending if the season's not happening, then they're not going to meet. So you have to wait for 3, 4, or 5 months until everyone's back together. A lot of the time they're also traveling. So like some of our partners are in like the AFC, like the Asian Cup. So it's like they have away games, they have home games, so they don't have the opportunity to talk to us. So sometimes you just have to wait months, maybe weeks, just to have a conversation.
Wow.
So it really ranges, is the truth.
Can you talk about like what from you talk about like you have like you're all over the place. Like talk about like where do your partnerships like range from?
Yeah, so we mostly focus on Asia, Africa, and Central and South America because the truth is like a lot of the other markets, it's like relatively easy to access.
Yeah.
Like if you want a shirt from any league in England, you can basically get it. Same with France, Germany, MLS, and so on. So yeah, that's our primary focus is what we'd call like
The
just
forgotten market. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. The forgotten market is like one way, but
Yeah.
I'm like the deserving market is the way I
Yeah,
try to
okay,
rephrase
okay,
it. That's the
okay.
way I try to think
like
about it.
that.
Like they deserve this recognition. But yeah,
Absolutely.
so those are our primary focus.
Okay.
So like the shirt you see behind me is they are the champion. Like that's Ezra FC, champions of Laos. It's like when you think of it, it's like they're not just a football club. There's like they have a school, they have a development center. This is just like one small part of their establishment. So that's like you talk to them and you're like, oh, you're actually making a change in your community. So for me, I'm like I talk to them and all my energy comes back. So that's kind of like finding good partners is. It's what makes the week good.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. That's super cool. I wanted to know, so as you kind of speak about, a lot of these clubs do a lot for their community. Do you plan on at least, no, this is kind of in the future, I would say, but do you kind of plan on, kind of partnering with those partners, at least, getting more involved with those communities, actually going to the clubs and actually, kind of putting your foot on the grounds and actually, interacting that way as well? Is that something that you see in the future?
Yes, that's among many other things that I see in my future. Really depends on whether we could afford it to. But yeah, like the truth is like, jerseys are just one part of it. It's like whatever we can help the clubs, we would love to be involved. So yeah, it's like we would love to be deeply involved because it's like the more we help them, the more they can help us. It's like a mutual relationship. But yeah, for now, it's just the smaller relationship, but we're hoping to grow that in the future.
Okay. I kind of have like 3 like rapid kind of fire questions. If no one kind of has anything else, doesn't necessarily really pertain to Sangalo, just kind of like more towards about you. First one, you say you're an Arsenal fan. Who's your favorite Arsenal player?
This is gonna shock a lot of people, but Lauren, he used to be the right back in the 2000s. Yeah.
Lauren.
Okay.
Closely followed by, of course, Patrick Vieira.
Wait, you gotta deep dive into Lauren. Why? What made you?
We have to know.
Yeah, we have to know.
I don't have a good reason. It's just like I used to watch him. He was just so like when we talk about the strong men in football, I used to watch the team and he was just so underrated, just quiet. He was not what's the thing? Like the flashy players, not Henry who scores all the goals. He was just there. He was just dependable. He was the Claude Makelele in my mind. When people talk about defensive midfielders, no one talks about Makelele in Real Madrid, right? But he was the linchpin of that era. That's how I feel about Lauren in the early 2000s for Arsenal.
Oh, okay.
People talk about Makelele. He doesn't go. He's not an unsung hero.
I
know what you mean. I know what you mean. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I think I have one more question about Sangalo. So as of now, you have 8 teams.
Yes.
From all these different parts of the world. Has there been any team that you wanted that turned you guys down?
Yes, but I don't know.
I mean, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Tell us a name. Yeah, but
yes. That, sometimes it falls through just for like financial reasons. It's just too expensive just to be able to export. Sometimes it's just the season ends and they're like, hey, like there's no point in doing this. We'll talk again in 6 months. But yeah, the sad truth, that's a pretty common. There's like many teams we'd want to work with. It just has to fit. Yeah.
No way. Okay.
So, can you say those teams real quick? The
ones we currently have available, or we have Paro FC, champions of Bhutan, Hanoi FC, former champions, and I think finished second of Vietnam, Highlanders of Zimbabwe, Express FC of Uganda, Ezra FC of Laos, Hyderabad FC of the ISL in India, Dynamos FC also of Zimbabwe, and finally we have Geylang International FC of Singapore.
Wow.
That's
And we expect to have a couple more teams the next couple of weeks as well. If you see the socials and so on, so we're gonna have another couple more teams coming in the near future.
So how often do you guys add teams?
We add a couple every few weeks because usually our it's like a limited number of shirts that we are available. So it's like get in while you can, and then we kind of cycle through the teams. Seasons ending, things like that. So we typically have 8 to 10 teams at any one time.
Okay. You're Ethiopian. I'm curious. Do you follow the league in Ethiopia? Do you have a favorite team there?
No, the truth is I don't.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like one of those things people always ask.
I don't.
I know. People ask. This is kind of the reason, right? I started the company, right? Because I know a lot of my friends growing up didn't follow teams locally either. Yeah, and that's part of the reason. It's just because Premier League owns everything, right? Like when you think about it, everyone is a Chelsea, Arsenal, Man United, so on fan. It's like that's kind of what we're hoping to help elevate these teams to be like, yeah, you should follow local teams. Like they are huge, and that's kind of So short answer, I do not have a local team.
Okay.
I also think we take for granted how in some of these parts of the world they don't have the resources to do all the broadcasting and bring in these games into homes. So the growth, you don't really hear about it. The Ghanaian league, to be honest, I feel like it's been the same since I was a kid. I haven't seen any improvement. It looks the same even when I look back today. It looks the same.
Yeah, man. Well, yeah, I mean, hopefully, I think through platforms like this, I think it will help people like us kind of tap back into our roots and the local teams back there, because I know I have like a few people I grew up with, like they support the teams that they kind of their hometown, so I always think that's kind of cool.
And bring awareness too. A lot of awareness as well.
Exactly.
Most definitely.
I had a question about just jersey sales in general. Do you see a lot of these jerseys going back mostly to the home country of which the players are, or do you see them going elsewhere? Do you actually see where these jerseys are going?
Yeah, it's really, we sell internationally. Like locally, they're typically able to sell because you know how it is. People are able to go buy from the local shop or even at the stadium and so on. So we primarily focus on essentially the international market. So Europe, the Americas, Australia, New Zealand, some parts of Asia. So we sell across the world, which, whether you're a diaspora or a collector. So it's for our Zimbabwean teams, we got people in Switzerland, people in Australia, so on and so forth, just buying it. But it's crazy. Some days I'll be packing shirts and just seeing where they're going. I'm like, oh, we have 10 shirts from this team in Zimbabwe going to 10 different countries. It's kind of just cool to see, I know there's 10 different people who are about to rep this shirt in 2 weeks. Yeah, it's coming from our office. So it's pretty cool to see.
That's dope.
What's the most I guess I want to say obscure, but what's the most what's the rarest, I guess you can say, country that you've shipped a jersey to?
Oh,
that you got the shipping label and you're like, oh,
what?
Really? That's weird. Okay.
I will say, instead of country, I remember this a while ago. We shipped a shirt to Norway, and you're like, oh, okay, that's not an obscure country. And then it wasn't Norway. We're talking deep in the mountains, mountains. Nobody lives there, my man. Nobody lives there.
Holland in them.
Oh yeah. I was I don't even know they could deliver it here, but props to you. Yeah, the kind of place, if the apocalypse happened, they wouldn't know what happened. And that's how remote it was. Yeah. So it's crazy to ship a shirt from one of our Zimbabwean teams to there. So it was pretty cool to see.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was actually kind of one of my questions too. So with having a newer company, or a young company, I should say, what is your day-to-day like? You just talked about you packaging yourself and shipping them off to 10 different spots just for a Zimbabwean team. Do you hop on the morning, get on the phone and try to look at teams, or are you doing research mostly, or is it a little bit of whatever the day brings?
It's a little bit of everything. We're a small team at the end of the day. We're still quite young, but yeah, it's like I have quite a weird working hour and sleeping schedule, which for the first time in my life come in real handy with this company, because I get text 3 a.m., 3 p.m. It doesn't matter. It's like someone's texting me at any point or calling. Logistics, operations, stuff is stuck in customs. Teams want to talk. Customers want to talk. Outreach, you name it. It's like we do everything like ourselves at the end of the day. But yeah, it's like a little bit of everything. But yeah, my WhatsApp is better left unseen, because there are days where I'm like, you just scroll through it and it's like 16 countries in the last 18 messages. And I'm like, oh man, yeah.
You don't even know what
It's
time
fun.
it is.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, it's fun, but I'm like, hey man, you called me and it's 2:30 in the morning, my friend. Like, I'm happy to help, but in the future, could you wait an hour or two? Yeah. It gets a little hectic sometimes.
Okay. Well, definitely. We talked about this before. We are planning on doing a giveaway here soon when we hit 1,000 followers on Instagram. So we're very proud and appreciative to be able to collaborate with you and give something back to our listeners. I have 2 more questions for you. Let's talk a little bit about the landscape of African soccer now. Who do you think the best African player is, and who do you think the best African team is?
Oh, that's a good question. This is going to be an unpopular opinion. And I should not have started with that, but I do, because it's because he's now plays in the Saudi league, so people are going to be like, oh, how can you say Sadio Mane? It's a cop out. But I think it's like, you talk about Koulibaly, he's over it. Chelsea fans. Yeah, so it's like
he's not there.
Yeah, and like Mane still has this magic. You see him. I know it's like he's come down a couple of leagues, so I think Mane is still like, that man was just something else. I hated watching Arsenal play against him. So I think he was still the best player. The truth is, like, all the best players from Africa leave, just like economically. So when you talk about the best African players, you can talk about them typically in Europe. As far as the best African team, it's kind of like we talk about the TP Mazembes, Al Ahly, like a lot of the Egyptian teams, like they're able to keep their core. So I would have to say, like, because talk about Zamalek, Al Ahly, they have to be the best teams. Is like the truth. Like when they're able to keep your team together and your core, you end up being able to build an actual team. So I think it's got to be one of them. Yeah.
Okay. How about international country?
Best?
Yeah, the national country.
Not Argentina, I'll tell you that.
Hold on. We'll put a pin on that.
Don't worry. Best. It has to be Senegal. Like that team is absolutely stacked. Stacked. Like absolutely incredible team. Like honestly, like genuinely incredible team. Okay.
Well, you brought up Argentina. I actually wanted to ask you this before. I didn't know if you had to go or not, but you and everybody. Messi just won his, I think, 8th Ballon d'Or. I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that. A lot of people obviously are saying that it should have went to Haaland, should have went to Mbappe. Me personally, I think that the person who should have won it. But I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like this is the last hurrah. We can all cry about it later.
I was just gonna say that, Mike. I was just gonna say
8 is ridiculous, but it is what it is, man.
I mean, but do you guys think that he was deserving of? I mean, not deserving, but do you guys think that the other
with Messi, he's deserving every year he's playing
over Haaland? Yeah, just because of the World Cup. Just because of the World Cup, and unfortunately, I mean, Haaland wasn't there, so he wasn't able to participate. But
you can make cases for both guys. I feel like. I mean, the World Cup is it's like
The
a
big
cap
one.
on the great career. It's a yeah, and
Yep.
it's a big. I mean, it's really one of the biggest ones. I think it's the biggest one. If I'm being completely honest. For me, I think it's every footballer's dream to bring a World Cup back to his country. You know what I mean? So to do that, especially with a historic player like him, it's amazing. But it's hard to. It's going to be one of those ones where, it's kind of like I don't want to say it's as close, but it's almost like when Virgil lost. And it's like, yo, do you not? The season that this guy had was
Yeah.
proper. Like, I mean, Haaland's season, you can't ask for a better season from Haaland. I mean, he set so many records, won virtually everything that he could win with City. You know what I mean? And it's kind of just, it's unfortunate. Honestly, it's really unfortunate. Like when Lewandowski lost, when Haaland lost, it's when Virgil van Dijk lost. I feel like those three you could make
Ronaldo's
very,
last
very.
one
Yeah, Ronaldo's last one too.
against
Honestly, if
Madrid.
we can, we can be real. I mean, but just more speaking more is like directly for Messi wise. I mean, those three you can really look at and say Messi really could only have 5. And I don't. It's a tough one is the Haaland's resume, and he's more than deserving. I think he's more than deserving to get it. But like you said, Mike, just they're gonna let him have this one. They're gonna say, "All right, you guys, this is your guys' time after this." And Messi won't probably get another one after this. So it's unfortunate. It really is because I mean, I don't know if Haaland will be able to get a treble and break another record like he did last season. But hey. Goat settings, goat settings.
Here's my question then for you guys. So Messi won on the World Cup. We agree, right? Not on his regular season. So So really, what we're saying is Messi's contribution to World Cup, and I'm not saying he didn't. He was amazing. He only contributed 5 minutes every game, but it was the most important 5 minutes every single time. It's like Messi's World Cup outweighed Haaland winning a treble in his first season in the Premier League, breaking the goal scoring record. I know it's Man City, but I'm just like, when you read like the history books, like when we read about Pele and whoever else won it in 1982, I'm like, there's a guy who broke the Premier League record, won a treble in his first season, and then.
And I agree with you. It is crazy even saying that. Too. And I saw something on Twitter. That said, I mean, people are always saying the game is done, but they're like, you have Fabrizio breaking the news on Messi winning the Ballon d'Or, hours before it's announced in the ceremony. Like, why do we even? Sure, we could say months, but he actually did it day of. You know what I mean? He's coming out tweeting this, and it's like there used to be an allure, there used to be a kind of mystique around this whole thing, and I don't want to call it a popularity contest now, or like a who do we like better to give the award to, but. We were kind of just talking about it with the last people. Lewandowski, unfortunately, the year he went off was COVID year, so he wasn't able to get his. But you can look at a few of Messi's and say, did he actually have a better season than who was number 2? You can look at that. We can go down the list and look at a few of them. But I think right now in the age of today, Messi was going to get it after. I mean, he's been football's international superstar for years. This move to America has only made him even more popular. It's kind of one of those things now where you have American eyes on it. So they're looking at this award ceremony now too, to see, who wins. So they're kind of seeing Mbappe and Haaland as the runners up, but they're seeing Messi as the best player in the world. I think that's I think it's been a big marketing thing for, since that World Cup, through this whole year, it's just been the Messi show, so I kind of always knew it was going to go to him, regardless of the stats.
It's definitely a marketing thing for sure. I feel like the I don't know the football, I guess the board of whoever like constitutes all the football stuff that happens pretty much was just like, we need to pick a GOAT. I feel like they need to pick a GOAT between Ronaldo and Messi. Honestly, I feel like they just needed it for the football world. Like, there's like a GOAT of each era. I feel like they just needed one for this era, and they chose him after some time. It's like, listen, we're gonna just make you him, and after that, then we can have the Messi era, then whoever's after Messi, which I think
listen, man,
Haaland and stuff. So
It's a French award given by the French magazine. Messi played at PSG. You know, it's been a whole thing. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole thing. Like once you read between the lines, you're like, all right, I get it.
what you're saying.
But Joseph, I agree with you, man. You look at what Haaland did in his first year, it's scary.
Yeah.
No, I get the whole thing about it's a nice I guess kind of cap, just final whatever to a great career, but I think he's afforded the benefit of the doubt, considering that everything else that he's won, he's more than earned. And I think like Gabriel said, I think obviously did he really, should he have won it over Haaland? I guess should have Nedved won it over Henry.
There's so many.
It is.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I was waiting to drop that. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to show my colors yet.
But you know what? That's actually a good point. What was more not egregious, but what was more wow? Like Henry losing to Nedved or Haaland losing to Messi now?
Okay,
let my man speak.
You're telling me Nedved didn't deserve that?
Absolutely not,
bro. It was a shock to everybody. I remember it,
bro. Yeah, I mean, I think any fan who's not a Juventus fan in that era, Calciopoli, regardless, is like Henry deserved it, right? Nedved was. He was good, but come on, it was Henry in his prime, in his pomp. Of course, he deserved it.
Okay.
Yeah,
it was his year that year.
Yeah, it really was.
Okay. We usually have this segment that we do called Start Sub Sell. I don't have one today, but I did just kind of have a general question. I was listening to this podcast earlier, and they were talking about some of the best strikers in the world. And I looked around and I thought to myself, if I were to think of the top 3 strikers in the world, no particular order, I would throw
right now.
Haaland is in there, Kane is in there, and the third I don't know. You want to say Lewandowski? Or I don't know. The third one, it could be anybody.
Victor Osimhen.
I was gonna say Osimhen or Leao. I think Osimhen's over Leao right now.
Yeah.
Let's say those 3, right? I was watching the David Beckham documentary, and I forgot. Was it Beckham's debut when they played Mallorca, and Eto'o was on that team?
Yeah.
Right. So, if Eto'o was playing right now, do you think he would be the best striker in the world? And then I have a double up
in
another
world.
Person. If he was playing right now, would he be better than Kane, Haaland, and Victor Osimhen?
I think he's stronger than Haaland, which sounds crazy.
I think he'd be the best player.
I think, and he's more techie than.
Eto'o played in a crazy era. And
he played in a wild era on the best teams.
So I would give him the advantage
teams
I
too,
I think
he probably would.
2.
So he would be the best striker in the world if he played.
He was in the era with Ibrahimovic, all these guys, the Agueros, the Ronaldo, all these guys. And
but even him as a young Spaniard, you're right, he was playing against Mallorca with Mallorca when they were playing Figo.
Exactly, Figo and all these guys.
I'm gonna say yes. You know why? Because then at the end of his career, when he went to Inter, or towards the end, he wasn't playing a striker, right? He was doing the role that Mourinho was. So he showed a different side of his work rate, ethic, tracking back, and still contributed goals in that team.
Okay, that's fair. So then here's my next one. Go ahead.
No. I was going to say when healthy, because he had injury
problems.
Yeah. I mean, him at Chelsea was not that was not
him at Chelsea. Yeah,
he's still bang go.
He still and he still won.
But I remember when he scored against us. I'll never forget. But anyway, same question, except throw Didier Drogba in there. If Didier Drogba was playing right now, would he be the best striker in the world?
No.
Only in the big games. If you told me Drogba, but only for Champions League final, FA Cup final, last game of the season, I'd be like, yes. Every other game, no.
No, I'm sorry, not Drogba.
Yeah,
I love Drogba too, but nah.
Drogba would be like a Tony right now. scores goals.
That's
He
crazy,
scores
Mike.
goals.
That's
No way.
crazy.
No way.
I'm
Ivan Toney.
I see what you mean. He's better than
he
Tony,
scores
though.
goals, but one thing we know about Drogba, the final, he will be there. But like his goal scoring rate was not like at the Haaland level, at the Salah level. It was never like that though. Like,
Tony, you
It's
saying?
not- it's-
Hold on. Do
It's
you
not even
think
at Tony level.
you think he'd be better? Wait,
Oh,
he's
come
not even at Tony level.
I
He
mean,
is
so
better
if
than
we're talking,
Tony.
if we're
Tony
talking
scores
numbers, I'm
more
talking about if
than
we're
that.
talking numbers. We're talking numbers. He scores more. Like Tony will score more per season than Drogba. I believe so. Right now, yes. I personally think so.
I would agree with that.
I feel like this
this
conversation.
is this, you're an Arsenal fan, so we can't really.
I would agree with that.
No, I'm not even.
Arsenal
Come
fans
on,
don't
come on,
be.
bro.
Don't
No,
be
I would
giving
agree.
Drogba
Mike, I would
the
agree with
I'm
that.
not even trying to
But
disrespect
also,
Tony.
yeah, we like you said, Drogba's scoring in every big match. Like we know
I
that.
think he's
Where I
10,000.
can't
He
say that for a
scored.
lot of these
The
strikers
rate
today.
Tony
Wait.
scores goals.
You're gonna. What rate does Tony score goal?
Bro, he just
what are
bagged.
we talking
Didn't he
about?
bag just
Come
18
on.
or 20 goals last season? Am I
That's what I'm
mistaken?
saying.
We're talking about did
In
he?
the Prem.
Drogba
get
scoring.
Drogba
Drogba scoring around 18 goals a season, 10,000% in this era.
He's clear.
Yeah,
At least
that's
He's
what I'm
not
saying.
clearing Tony, bro. He's on the
Drogba's
same
getting the
wave.
20.
That's what Tony's scoring though in the Prem.
Like
That's what
I
I'm
don't.
saying.
The
He's
numbers don't
scoring
lie.
around
I don't know
the
what
same.
you want that man to do.
I think that's crazy. Okay, we can agree to this.
You know what's
Yeah.
crazy? In my whole lifetime, I swear, Arsenal fans are the only ones that will never give Drogba, the full credit. You know why? They
That's
know
not true.
why. They know what Drogba did to them, bro. I swear, every Arsenal fan that I've known in my life will always tell, "Oh, Drogba's overrated. Drogba's overrated."
No, I don't.
Y'all
I
know
don't
why.
believe that. I don't think he's overrated.
That
I don't-
perm ponytail. Doing this celebration. You already know, doing this celebration.
It's
Man.
over.
Drogba. Yo, Martin Tyler loved him, man. I swear.
Drogba.
Yeah. But Joseph, I know you're tight on time. Do you have? Are you
Yeah,
good?
I have like 10 more minutes. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Okay.
So before we talk about my team, let's just so as an Arsenal fan, you've seen a lot, So talk about just kind of like the state of your team now. Just kind of like how do you feel about like them now?
Amazing. Let me summarize the stuff. Amazing.
Mhm.
But you know what it is? It's because, and I'm a little. It's the Arsenal fans who are actually annoying me more than Arsenal. If that makes
Thank
sense.
you, bro.
I'm like,
you.
guys, we're not gonna be able to do what we did last year. It's like they're like, oh, we're not scoring as many goals. I'm like, yeah, we're not meant to be scoring. Like we're changing the style of the team. It's like this is one of the deepest Arsenal squads I have seen. We're gonna compete on all fronts except for the Carabao Cup. We're not gonna talk about that. But it's just like we're gonna go deep in the Champions League. We're gonna compete for the Premier League. Like it actually feels like a squad. And I'm like, what more do you want? We have this City team that even Liverpool only beat once. Like you can't expect us to challenge them at the same level as Liverpool that only won once in 5 years. So I'm like, I personally, this is the happiest I've been as an Arsenal fan in like 15 years. Is like the truth.
You personally think this is one of the deepest teams that we've? I definitely think it's one of the deepest teams that we've had, but also I still feel like it's not complete. I feel
It's the forward position, right? It's like at the end of the day, it's like we have Gabby Jesus, who is actually a left winger playing in the center. He's amazing. He brings everything. We have Eddie Nketiah, I love Eddie, right? He's our boy, but
yeah.
But he's Jesus light, and I know this is gonna rile a lot of people up. What we need is a different profile, right? We need an Ivan Toney, we need a Didier Drogba, we need a different profile striker to like help switch it up.
Come on, talk to him, man. Tell him again.
That's what I'm trying. It's like people are like, oh, Havertz. I'm like, listen, I love Havertz, and I think he'll come good. But Havertz as a false nine is not the same as an actual burly physical striker. So it's like these guys stole Rasmus Højlund. I'm so annoyed about that. And then you see Liverpool just like taking like 16 strikers. I'm like, we just need one of those, and I feel like the team would be complete. That's the only, like the forward position is where we're the weakest, and maybe cover for Saka, but that's not as.
I still think we need another midfielder or two. I feel like if we get 2 more midfielders, I feel like then our team is complete. Then I feel like we're at the depth that we need to be at. But come on, bro. I feel like with our team, we're always injured. Like I feel like our midfield, we've always had an influx. At least in the past, we've always had like a big influx of mids. We've always had a lot of mids, and I feel like our mids have gotten in quality, have gotten scarce. But then also we all have a lot of injuries as well. So then with the injuries, and now that our mids are a little bit more scarce with the quality, now I feel like we need 2 more quality midfielders. Like maybe not world class. We don't need another Declan Rice signing. Like I'm talking about 100 mil, but I'm saying we definitely need like some 60, 70 million dollar.
I feel guilty talking about injuries when we have a United fan here, to be honest, because United team,
Chelsea,
bro. Even if they didn't have the injuries, bro, they're still gonna be who they are.
Yeah, that I give you. But yeah, I say, I mean, coming back to your question, it's like I'm proud of this team. Like I'm not that I've never not been proud, but it's just like there's their togetherness, the coach. It's just like from top to bottom, like this is the team. Like we're back to the Arsenal that I love. So yeah, I'm happy, man.
Let me ask you one more question about Arsenal before we get off Arsenal. This is well documented for the public, for me, throughout our pod. But at a certain moment in time, I was very adamant about Arteta leaving the club and them getting sacking him.
Arteta out. Yosef,
very adamant.
Out. Yosef.
Yes,
this was a segment with Arteta out.
Yeah, this was a very known thing for me. Because I mean, you know we've been through over the past couple of years. Yes. Yes. So for you, was there ever a moment that you were ever out, or that you truly doubted, or did you always have belief?
I was never Arteta out, but that's not to say there's not a criticism of him, right? But the thing is, it's like, I feel like, 15 years ago, even like 10 years ago, when a new player would come to the Premier League, there was an assumption that the first season was a waste, right? Like they need to adjust. No one expected them to hit the ground running. Today, that's disappeared. And I feel like we have the same thing with the manager. It's like, if they don't come in and they don't win the first 10 games and start going, then we should get rid of them. So for me, I was like, listen, he has to clean house. Like as much as I loved Lacazette and Oba and Ozil and the rest of them, I was like, get them out of my club, man. Like, I know they said something far worse. Like, just get them out of the club. So I was like, I gave him a lot more leeway because I knew even if he didn't get us I never expected us to compete, but at least he was cleaning out the club. So I was like, I can't, and COVID happened. So I gave him a bigger leash than I think a lot of people. Again, there are days he makes decisions. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what is this sub? But I guess we all feel that. So I honestly, I'm like, Arteta in, let him finish his project. Who are we going to get? Antonio Conte. I don't think anyone in this room wants Antonio Conte. Yeah. So I'm like, there are no better choices. We have someone who understands like the Arsenal DNA, who's building a squad. Let him finish his cycle, whether that cycle is 4 years, that cycle is 8 years. Like, let him go through the whole cycle, build. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But like this chopping and changing with the managers, it's because I'm spoiled with Wenger. And I think, Sir Alex, that's the generation I grew up in. I'm like, look at the best teams now. Pep Guardiola has been there, 8 years, 9 years. Yeah. Klopp has been there, I think, just slightly longer. And then the third best team is also the third longest serving manager, Arteta. I'm like, there's something to be said about having like decent structure and longevity. So Arteta in is what I would say.
I'm Arteta in too, Now I am.
Since we got all that out of the way, both of you guys believe. Yosef, do you think Arsenal can win the Premier League?
Can win or will win? There's a difference there.
I think Arsenal will win the Premier League this season.
Yes.
Okay.
That was not a very convincing yes.
A direct.
All right. Hey,
listen. Yes. What do you want me to say? This City team is they're fucking robots, man. Like I look at them, I'm like, I have to say yes, but they've lost 3 games. It was a crisis, and they're still only 1 point off the top. So like, I believe in my team. I'm just sick of City. Like I'll be honest, I am so sick of Pep's bald head. I am so sick of everything about City right now.
I'm dead. I think we all agree on that sentiment. We're done with City. As much as I would hate to see, As much as I would have hated to see Arsenal win the league last year, I was honestly rooting for y'all because I was done with City.
Yeah, we
was
don't
honestly
want
done
another
with
Bundesliga, right? It's like Bayern's what on
Yeah,
their
I
10th
agree.
year, 11th year. I'm like, listen, they play amazing, but I'm just like, come on, give us a break.
This is-
Go manage in somewhere else, please.
Yeah, man.
But I love what you had to say about the consistency of managers because I think there's something lost now with clubs in not giving that that patience or that air of grace for your first season or whatever it is. And what you said made sense, man. He came in, he had COVID, he got all the riffraff out, and now he's able to formulate his team with his own identity and his ideas. And these guys are buying in, and now you're seeing success, whether it be on a very small scale. You're seeing success. You know what I mean? So I agree with you, and I'm glad you said that. Just because where Chelsea is right now is the exact opposite of that. We had a long, even when we had Roman, who had been there for so long, we never truly had that consistency of managers. It was it was always the age old joke. Like by your third year, if you last 3 years, you're not going to be there a fourth. Even Jose got 2 stints. So it's tough, but when you see it work, it's there's something to say in that as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you have it. Joseph has Arsenal winning the Premier League. Gabriel's Arteta in. And
Come on, this is like a year. This is close to a year now.
yeah,
Hey,
That is a very short time, my friend.
yeah.
man, that hype just disappeared.
-3 hog.
Listen, it's funny because
They're out of hacks.
Joseph actually just talked about how important structure is. And here we are, another manager. The players, the players have showed themselves, guys. I mean, what can we say? First the City game, now the Newcastle game. After I saw the lineup, to be honest with you, against City, I knew we were doomed. Yeah. But I said this a few weeks ago, this is just where we are. I'm not really surprised anymore. Yes, we have injuries, but so does everyone else. I still think we should have the team to compete, especially if the manager is picking some of these players. But it's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate. I know a lot of people are overreactionary and saying he should be sacked, but like I said before we started recording, if we sack him, I feel like you're telling me that you're under the impression that these players can play in a style that they're not capable of. These players are just simply are not good enough. You watched the game today. This against Newcastle's B team. This wasn't even Newcastle's first team. So, players are now complaining about how the kits are too tight.
The socks are too tight.
The socks are too tight. But they've been forced to wear the replica jerseys instead of the authentic kits. So I mean, maybe I thought that could have had something to do with it. But
Your team be working overtime, man.
Nah, man. But yeah, it's unfortunate that we're in this position.
I know. I don't want to cut you off. It's just really odd though. Like Adidas is not the only team that so United is not the only team that gets sponsored by Adidas. So how is United the only team that's dealing with this crisis? That's where like my confusion is coming from. Honestly, like how is it? Because I'm almost certain that Arsenal gets it means a different design, obviously, but they get the same socks.
Oh no, yeah, it's Adidas.
Same jersey. So it's like I don't.
It's Adidas.
Yeah, it's Adidas. So it's like how all of a sudden Adidas large in Arsenal isn't Adidas large in
I don't know.
United. I don't know. Like,
Joseph, we need to start getting shirts from you guys.
Yeah, no, for real.
Yeah,
You're getting
get United on the phone.
I don't know, man. Have you seen the size of Onana? I'm like, that man needs to size up, man.
No, man. But on an all serious note, though, it's it's just unfortunate. I feel like these players have shown that they've gotten 4 managers sacked now. I think Ten Hag has a lot of responsibility that he has to hold for all of this. But it's unfortunate that he has to play players that he wanted sold in the summer. But because of the injuries, here we are. And if he continues relying on some of these players, unfortunately, it will cost him his job.
So my question is, do you think he lasts through January?
Yeah,
because if he lasts through January, then he gets, a few more. Hopefully, he gets to be able to pick a few more players from his plans. But do you think? So my question is, like, do you think it's the players just that aren't bought into him,
absolutely,
or do you think it's Ten Hag that isn't able to get? Because I mean, it seems like it doesn't matter who the manager is.
It's the players, Cornelius. It's the players. It's the players. Where are the players? Antonio Conte asked you, where are the players? Bro, these are the same players under Ole. I
told you all about Mount. Told you about Mount.
No, it has to be the players, bro. Because like we've had Jose Mourinho in here. I know people want to question, Ten Hag's pedigree. We've had Jose Mourinho.
But that's what I'm saying is, do you think it where does that come from though? Because
I think it comes
different
from
managers know, like, no one can get through to these kids, and I'm calling them kids. They're grown men, but
yeah,
like, I mean, is there a manager at this point? Do you think that would be able to get through to United?
No, because even Pep Guardiola would come here and he would be like, "No, I can't work with this."
When was Marcus Rashford's last contribution to anything?
Oh, maybe when he was getting bottle service, when he was out on a night out. You know what I'm saying? Nah, bro. Mike, it's not even about Rashford.
He starts every game, doesn't contribute anything.
No,
you got to start
he's
switching things around.
He's a big problem. But again, it's just kind of like he didn't start today, and we still couldn't score. So it's kind of like like when you look at like the you take all the scapegoats out of the team, and then what happens? We still look poor. So
might as well look forward to scapegoats.
No, no, bro. It is funny. It is funny.
I saw a tweet today that said Onana has been on his back more times than an OnlyFans girl. I was like,
yeah,
what's going on?
Hey yo,
that's crazy.
I was telling Salam before we got on. I truly believe, and I'm not joking, that Onana is the Black Kepa.
No,
once the last defender is beat, he's not saving anything. It's a goal. I mean,
listen,
you got to go get De Gea back. De Gea was at least keeping you engaged. This guy is just, bro. No, man.
No, but is it all on him though? That's the thing. It's easy to point the finger out.
It's easy to point the finger at him. Banter, all of that. But when you look at it though, once the last defender is beat, do you have confidence in Onana being your last?
I told you, as soon as the attacker swings his legs back, like it's a wrap for me. Like I think if it's on target, it goes in. But I mean, yeah, man, I think like the poor defending today, like Delo, Lindelof, them, like Maguire. Maguire was saying, like my win percentage in the team is very good, but we've conceded 6 goals in 2 games with you. So I don't know who to believe. You know what I'm saying?
What's the solution though? Like, what's the solution?
It's the player.
He's using everybody available to him.
Exactly, Mike. He's
using everybody available.
They're all shit. So what does that tell you? Remember what Ragnick said? I told you guys when Ralph Ragnick came, it was the best thing that ever. That was the best signing that we had. Whatever, Pogba, Ronaldo, any of that. Ralph Ragnick was the best signing because he said this team needs open heart surgery. They need 9-10 players. This isn't like a quick fix. You know what I'm saying? And I'm guilty of it. When they bring in Sancho, yeah, I put up the TikTok. But you know what I'm saying? Like I also assumed that Sancho would come in and do his part. Pogba, do his part. Di Maria, do his part. You know what I'm saying? But nah, man.
It reminds me honestly of, you remember Arteta was, the duo was Lacazette and Oba, right? They were the charm, the dancing, the swag. And yet a year and a half in, he shipped them out. I mean, we lost money on them, right? At the end that we gave Barca for free.
We've always lost money, bro.
So I'm like, maybe, sorry, I hate to say this, Glazers, like you might have to lose some money in order to support your coach, but because you got to get rid of the spine of this team and reset. Like every Manchester United fan knows this, right? They the managers are not enabled to just gut this team and start it over again?
Because they're told no. And then what's sad is we've gotten to a point now where Ten Hag is almost being held responsible for all the poor financial decisions that have happened, and it's just kind of like we couldn't even. I was telling Gabriel, remember we were talking about Malacia on how last year he needed to get surgery, but he couldn't get surgery because we needed him to be on like the bench because we couldn't afford to go get anybody else. Like it's so crazy, but here we are. Ragnick was right, man. 9 players.
All right, Sally, that's my cue, guys.
All right,
Yosef.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for hosting. This was fantastic.
Yeah, bro.
Absolutely.
You're welcome anytime, man. Thank you again.
I wanted to stick around for the Chelsea bit, but I think it's probably healthier for everybody.
I know how it is.
Yeah.
You other side of you North London boys.
Have a good night, guys.
You too.
Nah, but just to conclude, man, no manager can fix this. Not unless they give him full control. And I feel like, unfortunately, you know what? Like, I can't. But some of the players that he's brought in, what he showed me is that he has zero talent ID. I'm sorry, I don't ever want to see Anthony on my face in my TV ever again, ever. Oh, I don't. Yasser.
Anthony hype.
I'm looking into the camera. You won. That's it. That's it. No.
Anthony hype.
No. I'm done with it. I am done.
Beyblade.
You won. That's it, bro. It's completely
said
dead.
you won.
It's over with. I am so done.
Scored that goal versus Arsenal, and I thought he was
I
good.
No, but that's why you guys hated him. That's why I understood.
10,000, because the
yeah.
hype. It was all just. It was like this guy is not that good. Like he's really not. But because he scored on his debut against Arsenal and y'all won at home, it was like, oh, Anthony is. Come on, we know who this guy is at heart, bro. We know who he is. It's not him. It's not him. But I do have a question, though. I do have something I want to bring up. I mean, you guys are, I guess, at this point, somewhat of a poster child for this. But we have another 007 agent looming in our
bro, I'm not entertaining
in the
this.
group. I'm just a messenger.
He's never scored.
I'm just a messenger.
Like he's never scored.
I'm just a messenger. I'm talking Prem. We're talking Prem. I'm just a messenger.
No, we're talking Prem.
We have another 007 agent.
Oh my god, I was not expecting that.
We have another agent. I just want to bring it up. Rasmus.
We have several agents. We have several agents on this call. On this call, we have several. Go ahead.
Whoa, let's not do that.
Listen, we're on Rasmus
on this
right now.
call.
Look at the Chelsea guys. Whoa. Hold on.
Where they at?
We're talking Rasmus right now. Everyone has had their time, but this is Rasmus's time now. This is Rasmus's time.
Bring out Mason Mount.
Bro, he's there. You want a 007? 07? He's 007 for real.
I mean, we can bring up Mason Mount too, but this is your 9 we're talking. This is your 9 we're speaking about.
He scored in the game. I've seen the ball go into the back.
He said, I've seen the tape.
I'm just saying in the prem, there have been no contributions whatsoever. Do you how do you what do you think is going on with him? Because if I'm being completely honest, I do see a lot of potential in him. Like I wanted him to beat the allegations, but unfortunately he just didn't.
That dog in him.
But he does have that dog in him. He really does. I do think he'll be good for your team, but at the same time, I've seen him miss chances, bro. I've seen him
chance. Because he don't begin chances. He don't begin like.
I've seen it. Salam. Let's not bring up the tape.
No, Gabriel, we don't create.
I've seen him miss.
We don't create chances, so I know you're capping. He may get one chance, and then you be okay. Well, he misses chances. How many chances do we create? Let me ask you. In the past 2 games combined, let me ask you. If you're gonna make an accusation,
we're not talking about the past 2 games, though. We're not talking about the past 2 games. I didn't watch y'all today. I watched my team lose 3-1 today.
The past 7 games. How many chances? as if we're like prime.
He's playing with Rashford, man. He's not
Yeah.
getting any chances.
How
but
many chances do you think we create? Do you know who's on his left? And then do you know who's on his right? You know, you look this way, you look
Listen,
behind.
I know someone's coming down the middle, and that's Bruno. He's your creator, so
Who?
he gets opportunities. Let's not try to sit here and lie like he does not get opportunities to score.
He
the
don't
goal.
get opportunities.
To score a goal.
Hey, he be
I
working
just-
hard. Ellen, someone called him Ellen DeGeneres. He be working hard though, man. He be working hard. No, he's at the top of
Wow.
he's at the top of a dysfunctional team. So like, you know, he's not gonna get the I mean, like, I don't know, bro. I don't fair enough. If you think that he's not making the chances, like, so be it. But I don't think that he's not a problem to me. I don't. That's not why we're not scoring goals. I think has to do with a lot around him.
Okay. I just hey, we have another agent. That's all.
I do want to shout out Diego Dalot. Since you've gotten the contract, you've been shit.
Dalot. Hey.
Yeah. Varane can't stay healthy. Casemiro left injured. You know.
So, I mean, one final question for you.
So you really don't. Sorry, Gabriel. Go ahead.
Sorry. One final question. I know you only had what's it called? You only had Carabao today, but
yes, sir.
Realistically, I mean, I know it's still early, but I guess I want to put it. Let's say end of the year, right? Going into the end of the year, you're currently on the table 8th right now, not performing the best. Straight 500%, 5 wins, 5 losses, right? -5 goal differential as well. So not scoring a lot of goals. Only 11 goals scored.
Yeah.
That's why I bring up the agent. Anyway, realistically, where do you see yourself January 1st on the table?
January 1st?
Yeah, January come January 1st, opening of the transfer window, where do you see United on the table?
Man, I don't know, bro. It could be tough. I mean, where are you at right now? You said 10th?
You're 8th. You're 8th.
I'm at 8th.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we'll get lower. I think the lowest will be at 8. I think we'll stay at where we're at. I don't think that it'll go any lower than that. But I also like we got people coming back, so like, you know, I'm hoping. How? Exactly, Mike. Exactly. This is me coping. Nobody's coming back. Actually, nobody's coming back.
This man said who?
No, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think that we'll get any lower than 8th. But
bro, how you guys are 8th even surprises me.
No, you're right.
I really have no idea how
it's a miracle.
The only way that we'll improve is when this new guy comes in. If he comes in, if he has the power that he says he has, and if he can appoint a proper director of football, and we can, you know, bring in better guys, I think that will be better over the second half of the season. But I don't think that this guy has enough power. I think that he's completely full of shit. Jim Ratcliffe, yeah, man. But it's going to take a lot of players for the results to change, because these players have shown that they'll get you sacked.
Oh yeah. Anyways,
yeah, we can move on to Chelsea. It's been an up and down week, I guess. We started off with the loss to Brentford over the weekend, 2-0.
Frauds.
Very, very, very fraudulent, man. I was up here talking about how we finally were getting it together, 3 wins in a row into the, you know, leading up to the Arsenal match. And that's Salam, that's 100% why I said that Arsenal match was more important for us, because it just kept momentum going, bro. This is a team that's young. Like, for them, you know, that was an emotional battle, a 2-2 draw, you know, at home too. That's tough, especially when you have the fans all the way behind you and the way that the game went. I feel like for a young team like that, they were. It's emotional, bro. Like you put your heart and your soul into those 90 minutes, and you don't come with the result that you desired, especially when you probably felt that you had the upper hand, definitely in the first half, and probably up until Sanchez made the blunder where Rice was able to score his first goal. To be honest, I feel like we got kind of stagnant, and when that happened, because we weren't on the front foot and we were kind of relaxed, the team didn't know how to react. And then you double that into the Brentford match, another London derby. We don't get the result there, but then luckily we were able to see a a championship side in our FA Cup draw, so we were able to bounce back today, with a 2-0 win. I wasn't able to see the whole match, but I did watch some of it. It was good to see Sterling get his goal because I think he needs to start scoring more for us. But I mean, we see Newcastle next in the FA Cup. We have some tough games coming up here. We see teams in the top four. We see Tottenham, we see City, and then we see Newcastle also within the next month and a half. So it's like for me, I just need to see the consistency again because
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of faith running into these. I don't have faith when we see teams like Arsenal, teams like City, teams like Tottenham, unless we have been in a good series of form, the first 2-3 games beforehand. Because this team, like I said, they're young. They don't really have a lot of experience facing these top teams. And I think we need momentum for Poch to give us that belief that we can go in and get a result. But I don't know. Chelsea is we're gonna continue to have our struggles. It's good seeing Reece James back. I didn't want to see him at the Arsenal game, but we saw him there. But today he actually looked up for it. He had a chance where early in the match he went and almost he got a shot on goal, almost scored. But I think we need our best players, in our biggest games, and we always have injuries here and there. So seeing Reece James back on the pitch was good.
Yeah. No, I agree with Cornelius. This was something I said at the beginning of the season that we're gonna have this type of season, up and down, up and down. We're very young, a lot of players. Even though we spent a lot of money, you want to see this fast tracked a little bit. We just have to play the games. We have to play the games to build the confidence, to build the chemistry. Bro, nowadays when I watch Chelsea games, I'm in a new place in my Chelsea fandom where like I'm really trying. No, I'm for real. I'm really trying to not allow them to control my emotion, for the rest of the weekend. Because if I tell you I watched that Brentford game and thought, yo, this is bro, I was livid. I couldn't text in the group chat. That's how mad I was. I was like, this is ridiculous.
And Mike, I'm gonna
We
let you get
just
off.
we just saw a 2-2 Arsenal game, and then look at what we're doing with Brentford.
And the
Like,
worst part about that Arsenal match, bro, I was in Denver, so I had to wake up
was
at
it?
5:30.
Yeah.
Oh my
5:30. It
god.
was the early match. When you're waking up early on a
Mhm.
Saturday morning after you possibly had been out on a Friday
Exactly.
night just to watch your team
Him
lose,
lose. Oh
and we
my
didn't even
god.
play well, bro. Whole first
Get
half 0-0.
smacked. Get smacked.
First
Like,
Honestly,
first
get
half
smacked.
0-0. Okay, hopefully hopefully Pochettino can say something in that halftime. Then early goal. It's like, all right, I'm going to bed.
yeah, I'm just like, what's going on? And
I
I
don't
get
even
it,
watch the whole
Enzo
90.
out, Mudrik out. I don't like using those type of excuses, but like you're part of the team. You have to be ready to play. Like when you get put in the game, you should be ready to produce. I mean, I'm almost setting, I'm there where I understand that we are going to go through these things. We have to play the games. We have to falter. We have to lose these games. We have to win these games. We just have to go through the process, and it's going to be a tough one. Watching week in, week out. By getting a win like against what Blackpool, Blackburn.
Burn.
I mean, that's all you need. Confidence builder. But your shoes back. Sterling got to go, and I agree. We have to see him score more goals for us. We need Sterling to score goals for us. And I mean, I believe this coming our next game, I think we win the next game. I think people think I'm crazy, but I think Tottenham is a perfect game to go in there and test ourselves again. But I like where we are now. But that Brentford loss was definitely disappointing.
Are you calling GRG on Tottenham or?
No, I'm not calling
No, I'm not
GRG,
calling
but
it
I think we
GRG.
walk away with a win.
But
Really?
this is a game.
I really
I,
do
I
believe.
don't know if we walk away with the win, but I do agree with you, Mike. I think we could sneak them. Um, this is a game where they're flying high. I kind of feel
Mhm.
like the same way Arsenal was flying high. I know we're going to be going to their home, White Hart Lane,
Mm-hmm.
but there's something about Tottenham and Chelsea that I just never really respect them. Even when I know they're better than us, there's something
Mm,
about Tottenham where I'm just like, yo, we can
we can
sneak them.
smack them up. Yeah.
And if we come out like, how we came against, pause, if we perform how we performed against Arsenal, especially in that first half,
Yeah.
there's nothing in my mind that
We
says
have
we
a
can't compete with
chance.
the top teams. You know what I mean? I truly feel that we can compete with the top teams, but it's the consistency that's not there. And that's
Yeah.
and that's what it's all about. It's the consistency.
You sound like me 2 years ago.
I mean, because
Yeah.
that's where we're at. Young team, new manager. We've gone through our ups and downs. It's really we're starting from scratch, and
Yeah.
it sucks, but we're truly
Yeah.
starting from scratch.
It's like you really gotta watch. You gotta go through it. Like, bro, you can't skip it anymore. Because that's not what you guys are doing. That's not what we're doing right now. We're not doing the Roman thing. Like we actually have to watch our team grow up together and lose these games, win these games, see the improvement.
Do you
But a lot
think?
of money has been spent. So,
And yeah, that's the thing. That's why I feel like our
yeah,
fan base isn't ready for that.
the
And
patience won't be there.
shout out to Joseph because that's like for him saying that it kind of reinforced like kind of how I feel about
Mhm.
this team because obviously I'm impatient. I want to see us win right now, but
Yeah.
kind of like Mike, I've gotten into the mindset where I'm just like, yo, this team is gonna have it's
Unreliable.
growing. Yeah, it's gonna have
Yeah.
its growing pains, and I can't be in the mindset of this is 2015 and we have Eden Hazard. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like this is a totally different team, totally different era, totally different cats. So just kind of have to live with it.
You guys are in an interesting spot because, just hearing Mike say that you have to sit there and watch, like, your young team. You could go down the Arsenal route, or you could go down the United route. Maybe some of these young players pan out, all
Mhm.
blossom together, and you have, that young core that Arsenal has. Or you go down 6 months later and you realize that none of these players are actually as good as we thought they were. And then
Yeah.
when a player, an average player, one season turns into 3 seasons, 3 seasons turns into 8 seasons, 8 seasons turns into Chelsea testimonial.
So
And
where I think, yeah, so
I don't think that'll
right.
happen though.
Man.
I don't either. And the reason I think that we're different than,
Ouch.
both of your teams in this sense, well, a few reasons. Pochettino, one, he's a good manager who's been in the Prem. He understands how the Prem works and he's good with youth. But two, we bought hella players, bro. Like we bought
Yeah.
a lot of players.
We
Most
have
of who
guys on
aren't even
loan. Don't
on our
forget.
first team
Yeah.
right now. So where like where most players, 2-3 years they kind of get stagnant. They're now part of the core team. We have enough depth to where it's like, okay, we don't need you. You know what I mean? Like we really don't need you here. And we don't really have any senior players who grew up through the club, really, besides Reece James and Conor Gallagher, who obviously have their spot. So a lot of these young players are all competing against each other for a spot right now.
Yeah.
There's no sense of entitlement where I
Thank
feel
you.
like a lot of Arsenal and a lot of United, if you look at your starting, 11s, you have a lot of senior players who have been through the academy. So they're already entitled and I've been a United player my whole life, but there's nobody really to push them off their spot. Yeah, I mean Arteta tries to do it sometimes, but at the end of the day, there's just way too many guys. So with us, we're really in a totally new, like I don't want to call it a new club, but it's a new club. You know what I mean? We have a totally new identity, whatever that's gonna be. We have
Mhm.
totally new players, our club's being revamped, our academies being revamped. So there's a lot of just freshness at the club and everyone's trying to find their spot. And that's where we kind of just have to, like Mike said, just go through our growing pains and just see our team
Yeah.
win some games that we shouldn't win, and then see some teams, see ours lose tough battles or get draws against Arsenal, games that we feel like we should win. So it's just we're really at that very, very new spot. And I think that's why we're a little different than you guys. It's possible that we could also go bad, but I don't think it'll be super drastic like how it kind of was for you.
Yeah. I think also United really never gave themselves a chance to rebuild. Just when you thought they were going to rebuild, the whole Ronaldo thing happened, and then it kind of forced them to get some players that are, a little older. But I don't know. United has still never fully really gone through a rebuild.
You don't think that we rebuilt under David Moyes or Louis Van Gaal or Jose Mourinho?
Was that a rebuild? You brought in guys like Schweinsteiger. You brought in guys like Di Maria. Memphis.
What about Ole? Like
Same
Maguire?
thing. You went and got some established guys that you thought maybe could have put you over the top. Cavani.
In the beginning, the first year though, the first year is for me what symbolizes a rebuild.
I think you guys had the right idea with Jose, but the noise just got too much for you guys to. I feel like if you guys would have stood that noise, you'd be fine right now.
The rebuild isn't 1 year, man.
Yeah, it is.
I'll tell you that right now. 1 year is a rebuild. At this point, since I've gone through it, really, it's 4 transfer windows, 4 to 5 transfer windows. I feel is a rebuild where you're actually in the market, players in, players out. You're gonna need. Yeah, it's like 2 years. Honestly, that 2 years with Arteta was rough, bro. Rough. Like. I still feel like I still feel like we're rebuilding in a sense where I feel like we're at the end phase of our rebuild. I feel like our rebuild is almost complete and we're just maybe a player or two away. But I feel like just now at this moment, like even when we went on our run last year, our team wasn't complete. Not one bit. We still had guys that we were trying to get out, but it was just working at the moment. I think a rebuild is longer than a year. It's going to take 2.5 for sure.
Yeah, y'all need a proper rebuild for real. Like that's what United needs for real.
Nah, we need a proper director of football.
But this is why I also agree with when Gabriel says you cannot afford to fire Ten Hag. You really cannot.
Nah, financially we can't. Like
it doesn't even make sense if you do it's freshen the mood. Because then you're starting over again with another guy and Ten Hag's players. you just be going back.
No, and that's the thing, Mike. I feel like if you sack Ten Hag, you're telling me that you're I'm under the impression that you think that these players can play a certain style of play that they're not capable of doing. So
it's been 3 guys. Come on, let's be real.
Yeah, bro. Like, I don't know, but
anyways,
it is.
Let's talk Arsenal.
I mean, they just got.
They play Sheffield, man. There's nothing to talk about. Man.
I know. I mean, there are some things I do want to talk about. Because I don't want to say like the Sheffield match was. I don't want to hype it too much, but there's some good performances for sure. Definitely shout out to Eddie Nketiah. First senior hat trick. And honestly, 3 pretty good goals. If I'm being completely honest. The second goal was a banger, and the third goal was correct. 23 yards out. Top bins, good strike. One I've never seen Eddie shoot a shot like that a day in my life.
Bro, Eddie's gonna shoot. Eddie.
Yeah, he's gonna shoot, but it's on the ground. It's not in the when it's in the air, it's over. Yeah. So it was. I was happy for him to get that hat trick. Great performances all around the board, and it was a match that I considered a GRG for us. In a sense, in the Prem, I would say, we got our win at Sevilla, the Champions League before we had another Prem match. But Prem wise, I felt like we needed a GRG from the Chelsea match, and it was good to kind of see no hangover and guys just go out there and really put on a show, especially in front of the home fans. So I was happy about that. So yeah, I don't want to get into that too much. Odegaard was dropped too, so I actually like that. Because I feel like he's been off of it, and when changes need to be made, changes need to be made. Um, bigger, small, So I agreed with it, and I appreciated it. But to get into the match today, um, yeah, I mean, matches like this, it's just I'd hate to keep picking on this player. And I think we're off it as a team as well. But matches like this are just
Jorginho.
Jorginho, man. It's like we're missing Partey so much. Like, and this is why I said we need two more midfielders, 2 to 3. Like 3 maybe be a lot, but we need 2 more midfielders that we can rely on because Jorginho is not the midfielder for us. He's just not. He's not whatsoever. He doesn't match anything that we really want to do. Like in some cases, I understand why you might put him in a match to slow things down, hold possession, and things of that sort. And for experience, yes, but in the direction that we're headed, he's currently holding us back. And when we don't have a player like Partey in the squad, when we need to rest players like Declan Rice midweek because we have bigger matches on the weekend, and we go into these tournaments with Jorginho, these things hurt us. And it was clear today. I mean, the guy is getting run off the guy cannot run. We cannot have a 6 who cannot run. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. And it's not even just him. Our front 3 was silent. Absolutely nothing from them today. Eddie and Nketiah I think he's still on this hangover from his hat trick against Sheffield. Nothing from him today. Nothing from Trossard today. Who else? Reece Nelson started the match off well, but nothing from him really after that. And I understand this wasn't our starting 11 per se, our usual starting 11, but at the same time, I feel like these are guys who can go in and get the job done. These are definitely guys who can go in and get the job done. And to see a performance like that, it's definitely deflating. It's definitely deflating, especially when you go into a match, going into a bigger match this weekend. And just worse news, Partey will now be out potentially another 4 to 6 weeks. Smith Rowe will also be out, I believe, another 3 to 6 weeks for a knee injury he just picked up. So yeah, we're at that moment where we need these. These are the matches where we need these guys to step up. We actually need you. We're gonna need these guys, especially when we have prem matches on the weekend. Even though you might not be starting, we need you to come in and be able to lift the level. And when you get your opportunities to start, prove that you should be a starter. And I just haven't seen it. I just haven't seen it from this group, at least recently. So it was definitely deflating. It's not the end of the world. This is a West Ham team that they haven't been terrible this season. They've been pretty decent. They're at home. And this is a cup that, they've gotten deeper in. And, they don't, of course, I think every team has aspirations of winning the Premier League, but they know that's not really realistic for them right now. And they're going to put their all into these cups. And I just think that, we weren't ready to go into West Ham and to East London today and on a rainy, cold day and go and get a result. We just weren't. And it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Like I said, I think we have our eyes set on bigger things. Not saying that's an excuse because it's really not. Look at Mike licking his lips. Why are you looking? Look at Mike. But I think our eyes on bigger things, which isn't an excuse. But yeah, it's just unfortunate. Not something. Not a team performance that I want to see. And also I just that's not a team performance I want to see. So. It is what it is. We have a big one coming up. Are we getting into predictions right now, or we're gonna wait on that? But I don't know if you guys have any questions. Yeah, I don't know if you have any questions, but yeah, we have a big match coming up this weekend, and for me, I just feel like we can go into predictions. For me, we played. No, go ahead, Chris.
No, I didn't really have a question, but I was going to say Odegaard scored a little consolation prize at the end. Do you did that mean anything to you, or was it just good to see him score?
Good to see him score. Good to absolutely great to see him score. I wholeheartedly expect him to start this Saturday as well. Like, there's no reason that he shouldn't start. If he doesn't start, that may raise major red flags for me. But yeah, no, great to see him back on the score sheet. You know, even though it was a consolation goal, you know, we need him back in form. This is a guy that we absolutely need. He's absolutely crucial and vital to our team and to our season. So yeah, it was great to see him back on the score sheet. Absolutely.
Do you think Arteta's attitude towards the Carabao Cup plays a part in why you guys lost today?
No, I don't think so, because when I look at our lineup today, I mean, listen, like I said, we have to rest our guys. We can't abuse our players like we've abused certain players. We can't abuse them. We have to let them rest. We have so many matches, so many games in the season. When I look at our starting lineup, our back four is relatively the same back four outside of Saliba. And QVR, he's a great center back, honestly, to me. He fills in very well for us. So there really isn't too much changing there. Now Jorginho, Kai Havertz, they're just not providing what we need right now. They're just not on it right now. And you know, just this with the personnel, like I would say with the personnel and the attitude, I don't think it's a bad attitude, because these are all guys that get regular time minutes. It's not like, you know, we started youth and academy players. We started all senior year players with experience, and these are guys who regularly play for us. Champions League, you know, Premier League, FA Cup, all these they play for us regularly. So for me, I don't think it's an attitude thing. I expected him to rotate the squad, but I expect when he rotates the squad, these players are more than capable of getting the job done. And especially when our back line is really changing that much. You know, defensively we're still there. Our tactics are still there. Our personnel is still there. These are guys that when the Kai Havertz, the Trossard, we didn't have Smith Rowe today, Vieira. These are the same guys that we were just praising last week for completely changing the Chelsea match. These are the same guys we're praising. So these are the same guys who can go into West Ham and get the job done. I wholeheartedly believe that. So no, I don't think it's an approach thing. We're a bigger club. We're going to have to rotate the squad. We're going to have to rotate players. That doesn't mean that I don't think the approach was wrong. I just think that we're also missing some key guys, and the performance just isn't there. And that's just the unfortunate part about it.
Do you consider the Carabao Cup an important competition?
I think every competition is important. I think we want every piece of silverware possible. But in the grand scheme of things of what we want to achieve and what we're looking at, no. I think the FA Cup holds way more significance than the Carabao Cup.
Well, sure. But
yeah, like I don't. Nah. To answer your question, no.
But I mean, like, so you don't think, like, for a young team like you guys have, like, this is not like a good confidence like booster going into the stretch, because like the final is over like during the season, in the middle of the season, so it's like it could, you know, help.
Yeah, I mean,
like it helped
it
us.
would. Yeah, I think it would help, and I think yes, we are a young. I would say yes, we are a young team, but just because we're young doesn't mean we're not experienced, and that's where I'm kind of over it, like this young thing. Like, yes, our team is young. I get it. Saka's 22, 23, you know, but Saka also has how many international caps, how many international goals? You feel me? World Cup appearances. Odegaard, like these are guys with experience. Jorginho, experience. Jesus, experience. Zinni, experience. Saliba, experience. Like all these guys have experience. So for me, it's yes, we're still a young team and we're learning, but it's like, nah, it's not. Nah, it's the youngness is. I'm kind of over that young team now. Like you guys have all know what it takes to play on a higher level. Now the Champions League is a little bit different because that's a competition that a lot of our players really haven't played in their professional careers. So that's a little bit different. But it's terms of experience in the Champions League. We don't have that experience. Well, everything else we have experience. We have experience in big moments now. We have experience with these things. So I don't.
He said,
No.
"How many World Cup goals?" Relax, Gabe.
I mean, no, I didn't mean World Cup goals. I meant international goals. I meant international.
We
goals,
know
not
he
World Cup
has
goals.
goals in the World Cup.
I was like,
Gabriel.
wow.
No, I know. I'm not saying. I didn't mean to like. I didn't mean.
No, but you're
I
not
meant World
wrong
Cup
though. There's a
appearances.
difference
You're not
between the
wrong.
World
I'm
Cup.
not saying
There's
you're
a difference
wrong.
between the
no,
World Cup
100%.
and what was it called? The Summer
Yeah,
Olympics.
yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what I
no,
mean?
10,000.
They're both summer competitions, but one's held to a higher
Yeah.
standard. So I do agree there.
And it's just like it's not even about the youth anymore. These men are grown up now. Like
So these men, they're
they're
men.
grown. I'm not. Saka is not a boy anymore. Like he just put on the captain's armband for the first time against Sheffield. That man is not a kid anymore. I'm sorry.
Treated like a man.
It's time, bro. It's time. I said this last season. If you remember, I said this. Should be Saka's breakout. I need to see him go crazy, and he did. And welcome to the big leagues now. You're welcome to the big leagues.
Expected every year now.
This is expected now. This is the standard. What you did last year is the standard for you now. It's the standard.
Tell that to Marcus Rashford.
Hey, that's your man. It's MBE
Marcus,
is you.
Marcus, no, not anymore. Marcus Rashford. I think that was a spike in the
He said, "It's not my man."
No, no. You guys know how that's why I don't even talk about it anymore. You guys have known how I felt about Rashford for a while. Like it just
Salam quick to cut you off, man.
No. My man?
Is that my man?
That's Mike's man. That is Mike's man for sure.
Yeah,
no, Mike told me he looks the part. He looks the part, huh? Nah, but I'll go next.
Oh wait, I didn't even get my prediction. I didn't even do my prediction. I was they're asking questions. But yeah, no, Arsenal, Newcastle, Saturday.
When is this?
At St. Mary's as well, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday. Yeah, prime time game. To me, I feel like this is an extremely important match. I mean, because not only is it against one of the teams that we expect to finish, in the mix of the top 4, 5, 6-ish area, but also this is a big match for me in terms of confidence for our team moving forward. And this will tell a lot about my team because away recently, we start off the season really, really well away, not conceding goals, winning games. And recently, in the Premier League, at least away, we've had very, very slow starts. And going into St. Mary's, I think is one of the toughest places to play in the Premier League. Their team is buzzing right now. And yes, they will be down some players, but I think this will be a real test for us. It won't be easy. I'm sure it'll be another rainy night in London. But prediction wise, I think we get out there with a 2-1 win. I think we'll get scored on. I think St. Mary's will just help them. That 12th man will help them get to a goal. But I expect us to get out there with 2-1, and I really just want to see Odegaard come back to form. I think this goal will help his confidence a lot, and I need to see him a lot from him this coming Saturday. But yeah, 2-1 for me. 2-1.
We play Fulham.
Where?
At Craven Cottage.
Yeah, it's a L. That's a L.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be a tough game. At this point, it's very hard to pinpoint. Where do we turn? Like what? Who? Mike said it earlier when I was saying like, who do you bring in? Who do you bring in? I mean, like at this point, I really don't know who starts. Casemiro left the game, injured, so he got subbed off at halftime. So I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll see. Maguire, Lindelof, we'll see Reguilon. What's so crazy about like Regulon and his loan, like I actually think that he's been good. He's been decent. I don't think that he's been bad. But I also feel like my standards for a left back have also dropped significantly. But yeah, man, I think it's gonna be a tough game. It's tough because on both ends, it's just like I don't know how we're gonna create goals, and I don't know how we're gonna keep goals out. We can't defend and we can't score. It's not like we're like that Liverpool team. That Liverpool team from a few years ago, they could score, they just couldn't defend. And then you would have teams like I would even say like Chelsea now. Like you guys are pretty solid defensively. Yeah,
But we
like
can't
I
score.
don't. I
It's
just
the
don't.
goals. We
Not
can't
really
score.
worried. Yeah, not really worried about you guys conceding. I'm just worried about you scoring, and unfortunately, here we are. So I'm gonna go with a 1-1 draw at Craven Cottage.
It's not a bad shot.
Yeah, man. I think the goal's gonna come from like an unusual. It's gonna come from Amrabat. It's something like that.
Is he
Rashford.
good or is it?
Rashford's not
Maguire
so-
header.
Mason is due. He might give you guys one.
No,
Maguire header.
he's absolutely. I'm so over him too, man.
60 million.
He thought I wouldn't recognize him
Bro.
because he shaved his face, but yeah, I
We're
just
cheating out here. 60 million for Mason
it was
Mount.
it was on the second goal.
What is what I'm saying? Are you having a laugh?
Yeah,
Oh man.
having a laugh.
60
Oh,
mil. Now I look at it and I'm just like, there's no way we did that. There's no way. But anyways, man.
English tax.
Chelsea, Tottenham,
Yes, sir. Oh, that's a good
2-1.
game.
2-1. I think we have the guys to compete with them.
2-1.
If everybody is back. I didn't know if y'all heard, but
2-1 what?
Nkunku-
2-1 what?
2-1. 2-1.
Who?
What?
2-1 who?
Tottenham.
Oh, Tottenham's gonna beat
Oh, you
guys?
think
Oh no,
Tottenham's gonna win?
no. Chelsea's gonna beat Tottenham.
Oh, okay.
2-1.
I was gonna say the same.
Yeah,
thing.
my bad. Anyways, I didn't know if y'all heard, but Nkunku is in the pipeline, 2 weeks away. So
Oh.
be very worried.
Hype and Cuckoo hype.
Be very worried.
Hey,
I'm just saying.
No, I'm not gonna lie. He's gonna do good for you guys. I have full confidence in like his abilities. As long as he stays healthy, I think he'll be great. But your team,
Gabriel, we will be winning the same thing this season.
You guys have any shout outs before we get out of here? I wanted to shout out Yosef for coming on.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. Sangalo, CEO.
And I also wanted to shout out Eric Ten Hag.
You're out of hags, my boy.
I back you. No, right now, Mike. If any, I'm at the most hogs.
Y'all got any more of them hugs?
Nah. Hey, man. I'm on the most hogs I've ever been on. I'm trying to tell you. No, it's not him. It's the players.
Oh no, I know that. Because at this point, if you watch the game every week, you're tuned in. You've seen Ole, you've seen what do you call it? Ragnick, you've seen Jose, you've seen all these guys come through.
Yeah.
And there've been some guys on the team that are constant. They haven't changed. And I mean, it's obvious.
The players.
Some guys gotta go. Some guys gotta go.
Where are the players?
Show me the players.
Show me the players. Where are the players? Yeah.
Bro, do you think he should bring Sancho back though? Like, no bullshit. I mean, I know it's done. It's done.
And like,
but
yeah, apparently, like some of the players have leaked out to the media that they're unsettled about the way they think that he's too harsh on the way that he's handled Sancho. And I'm like,
apparently they're saying that he's Sancho's been going through the direct channels and the right channels to try to come back. They said that's what I read somewhere.
He needs to just apologize and just like
this is all over an apology.
This is all over it. But I mean, like, I think that there's more to it though, man. Come on. Like, we paid $70 million. You know what I'm saying? So like from a financial standpoint, yeah, he has to play. So if he's not playing, it's because like, bro, come on, man. Showing up to training because you've been playing FIFA. and then you'd be losing in FIFA, and then you'd be losing in the FIFA too. You know what I'm saying?
On and off the pitch.
Shame. You know what I'm
It's not
saying?
like you're winning, to
Bro,
justify
I
it.
saw a tweet. The person he lost to sent him a message saying, "Get some sleep. You got training." Could you imagine?
Hey,
Oh,
Yeah,
my
that's
God.
I'd be in my
Disrespect.
house sick if I was
What?
Sancho.
I'm playing socks
Man.
right now. Hey, get some sleep, young buck.
That's
ice
crazy.
It's
up.
probably some 10-year-old kid too. That's the
Oh,
worst part.
man.
Ice up, son.
Damn, y'all really don't have nobody. I'm trying to look at your front. Martial.
They're talking about
Mount.
bringing the guy
Anthony.
back from Getafe.
Y'all need him,
Who?
Greenwood.
Oh,
Y'all need.
that's crazy.
Wow, that would be low as hell.
Yeah, nah, I'm done with this.
They went back to
Finish.
Greenwood.
Y'all
That would
spinning
be
the block.
Crazy.
Nah,
That's wild.
I did want to say something real quick before we get out of here. I thought it was interesting. I heard this earlier. I remember remember when we were talking about Girona and they were like they were up there in La Liga.
Mhm.
Well, so
Oh, I actually did see that, Salam. Yeah, I saw this. I saw this.
Man City has a stake in Girona, and they've been sending all their guys over there. Like, so one of the guys who like runs Girona is Pierre Guardiola, Pep's brother. So they've been in cahoots with like their team is like playing well too. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
Yeah, no, they're
play
playing
well
sweet.
because they're getting it from the source. But but no, essentially like they may be in trouble though, because if they finish in the Champions League spot, you can't have two teams owned. You can't be owned by have two teams owned by the same owner in the Champions League at the same time.
Oh, really?
What?
Yeah, so they would
Yeah.
have to.
I didn't know
Why?
that.
Yeah, which is why this Sir Jim Ratcliffe guy is good, because he's like, I don't own all of it. I only own 25%. Like, fuck him.
Oh,
I think the exact thing was they own, I think, like 44%. So
Yeah.
you would either have to,
If they're like
They would either
majority
have
owners.
Or sell some.
yeah, they would have to either sell like a significant amount, or they would have to essentially Girona would have to give up their Champions League spot to the 5th place in La Liga. Which, I thought was crazy too. Salam, it was nuts.
So the rule is if you're a majority owner of a club,
I think it's
you can't have two clubs in the Champions League.
Competing
I'm
in the
pretty
same,
sure.
because at that point, I'm sure there's so many like rules. I don't even want to speculate.
I guess it
and
makes
laws and
sense.
stuff, but
Sir Jim
You
Ratcliffe.
can launder money through both clubs.
Who else does Jim Ratcliffe own? Does he have stake in other teams?
Nice,
Nice.
I believe. Is it
Oh,
Nice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and we all know what their coach was saying about the black players last season. So that's good, man. Glory, Man United, bring on the racists too. Oh my God! Thank God I'm a Real Madrid fan. And
here we go.
you feel me? I know you.
Messi hype.
Oh, Exvito, man.
Suarez on the way.